All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah,
We got
as ready as
a
I'm
pretty
going to be.
captive audience. We got some people in the chat's busy.
Good.
All right, here we go. Going live.
I'll have to hit the chat at some point. It's on the YouTube, so I assume I'll get the other computer up and running when I go get myself.
We are live.
We're live. Well, that's
We are
splendid.
absolutely fucking live right now.
Are we live?
Well, yeah, dude, I'm live.
Are we live or is it AI?
Fuck, man, don't confuse me with that shit. It's like, it's past work hours. We're not supposed to be
Yeah, I was
doing
going to
that.
say, we're not talking AI. I'm done with that bullshit at this point in time. I've done deep fakes and AI for the last week in New York. I'm done. I'm back in the swampland of Missouri, which we'll have to fill everybody in on.
Yeah. Yeah, no AI until later, like a lot later. Tomorrow morning. Well, I mean, you can talk AI, but don't expect anything intelligent coming out of me.
You know that minute when you open the fridge when you've been away for a week and you're like, this looks interesting. It's about a week old, but I figure if I microwave it, it should be okay.
It is okay. And if you got the fuzzy stuff, just cut it off.
You cut it off. It's perfectly okay. It's good for you.
Yeah.
The green
My wife
part of
gives
the
me
meat
shit.
is the good part. That's where the flavor's hiding.
My wife gives me shit for that all the time because, like, you just cut off the bad stuff and eat it. And then she always says that she's not going to have any like sympathy for me if I get sick. But then I get sick and she has sympathy for me. I call her bullshit on that all the time. So what's new? This is like, it's been so good. And you know, this morning and kind of putting this together, I was like, man, it's been too long since I've seen you guys like this. And I reminisced a lot about, you know, those 2 years we were together and how those 2 years were just kind of fucked up in the world. Not like it's not fucked up now, but it really sunk in how important it was for me personally to go through those couple of years with you guys. It was really awesome.
Same thing, definitely. By far and away. And you're right. It's been too long. I mean, we've been talking about getting back together for a while, but life, universe, and everything else seems to continue to get in the way. But I'm glad you finally said enough's enough. Right. Get your asses on the show. And then I end up booking a bloody airplane, or we'll just leave it. Mother Nature decides.
Well, this is the shit show, Chris. So this is normal.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Aptly named, we'll call it that.
Yeah, for sure. So what have you been up to? How are you guys doing? Chris, we've had so many life changes since the last show. It was August of 2022. That's like 2 years and 2 months, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I've been living here since then because I think we did that show the night before I was taking a flight down here to live here.
Mm-hmm. To live there, yeah, because you were still back and forth and sorting everything out. God, I remember some of the stories about you finding the barbers and the tattoo, all this. Yeah, those were fun stories.
Tattoos.
Yes,
look at that.
I keep seeing those. That's awesome.
Oh, look at my new watch. You're a watch guy, Chris. That's my Garmin watch. It's a great dive watch.
Oh, I like that one. That's actually cool.
It's the Descent something, and it's got integrated air, which is pretty awesome.
Nice.
The part that sucks is it tracks my exercise. So I see it all the time. Like, fuck, I didn't exercise again today. Son of a bitch.
I don't have a choice anymore. That's one of the big changes in these last 2 years. I don't have a choice. I put a little bit more of the weight back on again, but I dropped, 80, 90 pounds, I think, between...
Dude, congratulations.
Well, yeah, no, it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't... it wasn't completely by choice. I got... in hospital for a little bit and stuff, but it's mostly under control-ish now, so that's a good thing.
Well, and it is a congratulations, man, because I have family members that have had various, diseases related to their weight.
Yeah.
From diabetes to heart disease. And a family member in particular, he was an uncle of mine, had diabetes and had the opportunity to change his lifestyle. And I think he'd still be alive today if he would have done that.
Right.
But he didn't. And now he's dead.
Oh, yeah, you get choices. I mean, that was what I was told. I mean, I was losing it because I wasn't working out and training. So I started to lose weight deliberately because I'm like, my body doesn't want to support this. And I'm not doing heavy duty workouts. And then the weight started falling off, literally falling off for me. I lost energy and ended up going in for a couple of days. And they were like, congratulations, you got diabetes. And I'm like, So
Well,
change
how do you feel?
lifestyle.
How do you feel today, man? You got more energy? Do you feel better?
Yeah, I feel better. I dropped a ton of it. It was down to like 200. I'm up a bit, but it's going to come off in the next couple of months. It needs to. I slacked, I should say, a little bit, which is my fault. I'm just working a bunch of other things going on. But yeah, it's, it's mostly under control. The only downside is, like anything in this bloody neck of the woods, it's fighting against the system. I can't get glucose. I can't, because I'm not type 1 and I'm not on insulin. They don't care about me actually keeping care of myself, so I have to pay for my monitors. But now the problem is the Libres they're not doing as much with them. They had problems with them when they were only about $150. The Dextrose ones are like 500. So I'm trying to have to figure out what the hell I do. Oh yeah, per month. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Do you want some stuff from Mexico?
I was about to
I might
say,
take you.
I might know a place.
Yeah, I might take you up on that. Ironically, I'm going to head up to Canada. I'm going to go see if I can literally I've got some meetings up there. I'm literally going to walk in and see if I can actually get the bloody things like over the counter, because if I can, I'll just pick up a few.
I can get just about anything across the border for 500 pesos. I know. You guys laugh, but I'm totally
What?
serious.
No, I believe it. I absolutely
That's the going
believe
rate,
it.
500 pesos, which is like $25.
Yeah, I was gonna
Today's
say,
exchange rate.
it isn't much, is it?
I've gotten out of, I think 3, maybe 4 tickets now. 500 pesos every time.
Just having the money close to hand.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of cool down here because I'm the crazy gringo. I purposely speak, I call it redneck Mexican.
Yep.
They call it Spanish down here, but I'm like, this isn't fucking Spain. This is Mexico. You guys speak Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
And they laugh. It's really meant to be, for laughs. But like, Puerto Vallarta, I call it Puerto Vallarta. Tortilla, it's tortilla. And actually, I don't even call it tortilla anymore. I call it flour frisbee.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I do. I call them frisbees. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Toss me a flour frisbee, put some meat in it.
The thing is, it disarms people. You're not a threat. You're not anything else. You're disarming. You come off as disarming. They let the guard down. Ways a lot better, a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, and the thing down here that I you think that the weather or the view, the ocean, the mountains, the jungle, you think that would be my favorite thing about living here, but it's not. My favorite thing about living here is the people. I love this fucking culture, man.
I'm in the middle of freaking Missouri. I'm literally in the middle of swampland, Missouri. I moved out of Colorado, February, March, April-ish time frame. Middle of bugfuck Missouri. I love it because of the people.
Yeah. They're genuine. Like, I'm used to Minnesota.
Right.
The Midwest is so like, what do they call that?
Passive, aggressive, and cold.
That's it. Yeah.
No, it's worse than that. It's worse than that because I'm still living here, and we're one of the teardrops on the map, and it's not great. It's directions to everywhere except my house. It's clicky, and it bleeds over into all aspects of the social structure.
I'm down here. I'm more state or two further south of you, still the Midwest. It's people care when they say like, "Hey, how are you?" They actually will focus on your answer rather than going, "I asked you that because I feel like I have to," and off I go. Colorado not that way.
I think that gets stronger the further south you go in that line.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Because up
here in Mexico, like they ask you how
official is like expected pleasantry. But that's starting to fall to the side. I've had more attitude at like the servers, like go to the gas station and they're like, "Fuck you want?" They're like, "Pay for my gas."
Holy shit!
Yeah, dude.
Here I get like 10 minutes worth of conversation, sometimes 20 minutes worth of conversation, and it's all about life, the universe, how are you doing, what's going. And I love it. I'm south of St. Louis. So about more to be like 45 minutes, an hour or so, whatever it is, south of St. Louis. I got rolling hills, which I've forgotten how much I miss the freaking greenery. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous bike paths, which I feel guilty about because they're hardly ever used, and I love them, and they're comparable to some of the other stuff I left behind. And the people are fucking awesome.
Is that why you can't stay on them?
Probably because I'm looking
Shit.
around too bloody much. Yeah.
Shit.
Don't even. Yeah. Well, that's the next time into the hospital because, yeah, the fucking shoulders just.
Lord, man, I'm telling you, I had to.
That's
Minnesota.
right.
yeah,
'Cause
that-
I can't
that
stand
was
bikes either.
bizarre.
And my bikes have motors on them, man.
I tried it. I even took a picture and shared it as evidence. You guys were trying to convince everybody trying to get me to do
A
it.
picture
So I
of
did
what?
it.
What'd you take a picture of?
Me riding a bicycle.
Bicycle?
A bicycle. That's Minnesota talk for non-motor motorcycle.
Yeah, you gotta put a motor
They're
on that.
great.
You
I
know?
love them until you end up in the scenery. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but you don't ride. You're not tooling down the street like a little bitty, right? I got a
No,
quick funny
I'm
story
chasing
for you guys
cars.
about bikes. So my wife's dad was a innovative individual, and he had a bit of a rough life and found himself needing to urgently move. He had a bicycle and one of the child carrier tow behinds. He towed a couch for about 30, balancing it on the back of the back seat and the top of the rolling down the highway.
Crazy.
True stories from my messed up crew.
We have Mexican bikers. You know that highway, Ryan, between here and like Puerto Vallarta?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-lane undivided like Mexican highway. It's not like U.S. highway. And every once in a while there'll be bikers riding down. There's no way in I would ever ride a bicycle on that road.
Not on that.
No, and shit. I'm surprised there's not more people that get killed right there. But
Well, especially when you have the surprise volunteer construction crews, just random ass people working on the road.
You
Yeah.
serious?
yeah, they just if there's a pothole, they'll on the side of the road they'll grab sand and put it in a bucket and then fill the potholes with sand and then kind of put their hand out to give them money. Yeah.
I mean, it's enterprising. It's probably not much different than some of the stuff that happens here. I mean, the jobs that happen here in some of these roads, you do feel like the kids building sandcastles could do a better job.
Problem is that they can't afford to blaze orange.
Oh yeah, they're standing right in the middle of the road, man. I had a dude night before last. It was nighttime. That road is dark, right? There's no roads.
No, there's no street lights.
And he was walking in the road with his back to me. Yeah, and I was like,
Tours
what
oncoming.
I was coming up on him, his
Right.
back end. Yeah. I didn't kill him. Well, the thing is if you do run over somebody, you're supposed to just keep going.
I thought it was throw 500 pesos out the window and then keep going.
Well, that's only if they catch you.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you can keep going, and then, yeah. It's funny because hit and run is kind of Mexicans do that all the time. Like they'll bump into another car and just keep going.
I mean, that sounds like Italy. Italy's that way as well. It's like one hand out of the window, one hand on the horn, and you just know the car's going to get some love taps. I mean, it is what it is. It's just a gentle reminder that maybe your car's not in the same physical state. It's a love tap.
It is. Yeah. I have a pickup truck down here now. People get out of the way for me pretty much. I think because it's the beard in the pickup truck that keeps them away. People don't really fuck with me down here. They totally could. And you've been down when we walk down the Malecon, Ryan, they'll ask you, hey, you want a cigar? And you say, no. Some weed? No. Cocaine? No. And they'll just keep going. Molly? No. I don't want fucking anything.
Laundry list.
Yeah.
No shit. It's basically a shopping list of everything.
Basically, you can buy just about anything at the pharmacy, and what you can't buy at the pharmacy, you can buy right outside of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true.
It's what it is. It's a different world.
That's true. That's true. So what else is new, man? Ryan, what have you been up to, man? Are you
Man,
what's your passion? What's your kind of shit you're working on nowadays?
Well, I accidentally wound up in some really interesting rooms. And so, some of what I've been working on are things like how do you govern consciousness? And what should the rules be for that? And what is ethics? And how is it defined mathematically? It's a really cool time to be alive. I went back to being a nerd, right? Like I had lost my way with that, where I was trying to business and just get too much into the administrative side of the industry, right? And I found that while that side needed a lot of love and care, right? Because we're still not too much better off than we were, when we did the show. There was this
Not
gap.
much better off. I'd argue we're worse off,
Oh, we're
man.
way worse.
Oh, I
That's
was just about to say we're worse off. Yeah.
So to that point, I said, where does that gap start? And one of the things that we had talked about before was the fact that at the time of code creation and all the drivers that lead to rushed code and and granted, you can't make bug-free code and actually produce it in a lifetime, but some basic checks and balances. And I said, well, I come out of, previous academia area. Those checks and balances aren't getting taught. They say industry should teach it. I go to industry says academia should teach it. And I didn't see anybody fill in the gap. So kind of like I did with K-12, I said, okay, I'm going to see if I can insert myself into this gap space between risk practitioner, CISO, engineer. I know much about what I need to for the emerging tech, the cognitive systems and neural nets and quantum and neuromorphic, right? Learning about metamaterials, which feeds my nerd. And I realized that I wasn't getting enough time to keep up enough with the emergence to also give effective advice back downstream. And so I was seeing this kind of uselessness developing of, I got to pick a horse. And one of them, making me like a man. And the other, none so much. So I chose to go for the one that gives me the bigger stack of happy, right? But it's a crazy ride, right? And there's a big vacuum of the right level of knowledge among all the disciplines so that they can more effectively interact with each other. So shit like that, getting more involved in the local security community, attending more local events. I just went to one the other night, finally made it into InfraGard. They finally cleared my background.
InfraGard.
That
So-
forever.
InfraGard.
You guys remember when TSA, when I was waiting on the fucking TSA to clear my, what was that? Like
TS
18 months or some shit?
Some stupid amount of time.
What's that? What's that? Oh, global entry. Yeah, they canceled mine.
Because Mr.
Yeah,
Man over
mine-
here.
Yeah, mine's
No,
gone too.
I expect it. I mean, fuck it. I can't. That's the thing about the government, man. It doesn't matter who's in power. It doesn't matter. You're in it for yourself. I mean, you have to protect yourself. Don't expect the government to protect you. Don't expect me to protect you. I would love to if I could, but the only way you're going to get through this shit is if you take ownership of your shit, right? And so, I know you and I, Ryan, have had a lot of discussions about some of the AI shit you're doing, and it's really I've been pissed off on your behalf. I think.
Thank you.
For the way people are treating you in this shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go into details, but you've got such a big heart, and you're in this game not for the money. You're in this game for the mission, which makes you, in my opinion, very, very attractive. Not like, sex wise. Well, you've got that too, but I'm not talking that right now, but that's the common thread, but it's that's easy to take advantage of. You've done a lot of shit in the last year or two. I mean, since we did our last episode together, you used to work at Security Studio, right? And this is how cool I think relationships are, because if you would have stayed in that job, you'd be dead. You know what I mean? So you had to make the tough decision to let you go. And man, that was so damn hard for me as a friend, letting a friend go. And if you wanted to use like the terminology thing, a friend firing a friend. You know what I mean? And my biggest concern in that was that our friendship would suffer from that. You know what I mean? Because it had nothing to do with friendship. It had to do with one friend watching another friend try to do a job that was going to kill him. You know what I mean? And then, but since then, so I mean, in those 2 years, we survived that together, right? And done a lot of fun shit together. And I've watched you kind of navigate, the people that just taking advantage of you. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for the next, months for us to work more together. And then, we can just, I can watch your back. You know what I mean? Watch your six, I guess.
I
Something like
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, you're the, since we're on the Love Fest and Chris needs to come back on camera because we
Love
got something for him
Fest.
too.
Do I need to take off my shirt?
No, shirt and pants stay on.
You sure?
I'm back.
Fun without him.
No,
I
okay,
needed
so
to.
here's
I'm in on the other machine and I needed to sign back in again, but apparently it's not showing back on. Oh, we'll figure it out. There's a lag on YouTube. I had to log into YouTube for crying out loud.
nice. So when we did the last show, like that was a pivotal point, I think, in all of our lives. Chris, you were just getting ready to embark on some pretty major changes in your journey. You had some things coming up, some bills were due, some stuff, right? Evan, you're relocating countries. And for me, and it took a long time to get there. You guys and that show, to Evan's point, that was how I made sense because as an extrovert, I've always made my life out there. And I remember the first time I had to do a webinar to a fucking flat wall. And I'm like, what do I do? The worst. And we were going through so much bullshit, Ev, to go through that with you, man. And I think we could talk about this on the thing. So Evan and I can't talk to each other in that moment. This moment has happened. He's hurting. I'm hurting. We're both worried about how
talking about that day
is doing, right? And it's the
that
weirdest
day you're
thing.
talking about?
Huh?
You're talking about that day?
That day.
Yeah, right.
So I start dialing for dollars. I call Chris. I tell him what's going down. I said, get a hold of Evan, tell him everything's going to be all right. Everything's fine. Because I was relieved. Because there was this weight that like instantly left my shoulders. I knew I wasn't going to die.
New tattoos. Jack asked new tattoos.
Yeah.
See, that's Mexico. That's the golden eagle. And that's America. That's the bald eagle. And then, but Jack asked if I had any new tattoos under the shirt. I do not, but I'll work on that. Sorry, Ryan. I had to answer that because I thought that was pertinent.
I like it.
All right. So that day, yeah. And I'll tell you, because every time I've had to let somebody go, so over the years, some people get used to it. I don't. Every single person, it's like, every single time it's like, man, this affects somebody's life. They're going to have to pay bills. They're going to have to find another job. It's like, it weighs really heavy on you. So I usually before that, I'm looking for every possible reason not to do it. I'm asking friends, I'm asking other leaders, I'm asking everybody, and not without violating, you never want to talk behind somebody's back. So it's never, you keep really sensitive about the details and everything. And at that time, Ryan, we had 2 people were staying at my house at that time that are your friends and my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, man, so the day comes, right? And this is what I prayed. I'm like, God, if this is not what you want me to do, give me a heart attack right now. Stop me from doing this. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to fuck up a friendship. I don't want to go through this shit. And I told Amy, who was the HR person, I'm like, Amy, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say what I need to say, and then I got to drop. Because I'm going to start fucking crying. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. I started crying. I'm like, fuck it, I'm done. And then she took it from there. And it was, I was worried about you, but I was also worried about our friendship. And then it was really refreshing to hear that you were kind of doing the same thing. And I was like, man, it's amazing that, friendship survives this. And we still got a mission to do. We still got work to do. It's just different places, right?
I made you a promise. We were friends before. I worked for you or with you, right?
That's true.
Right? And I told you, I don't think this is a good idea. My job interview was basically me telling Evan every reason this was a horrible idea to hire me, just so we're all
Well, it's like Nicholson and I worked together for a while. I mean, same thing. Chris is a bloody good friend.
It's hard.
And I don't remember what the heck I did. I was leaving somewhere, and Chris and I got talking, and it was, come hang out with us, and I did, and very, pretty quick. This was different. I mean, this is pretty quickly. Pretty quickly, it was like, not sure about this, not sure about this. Trying to make it work, trying to make it work, trying to make it work. Not too sure about this. And same thing. I mean, I sat down with Chris, and I mean, we had a couple of heart-to-hearts over a few weeks or months or whatever. And in the end, I'm like, hey, this isn't going to work. I will not lose a friendship over this. Same thing. I'd be a friend before this. I will not lose a friendship over this. We got to go separate. Otherwise, it ain't going to work. It's a different culture, different way of doing things. And I care for our friendship more than I care for a job with you.
Well, and here's the other thing. So me and my Jesus, we believe in, plan, not coincidence, not accident, not whatever. The outpouring of love that I received that day probably hurt the most because it was so wonderful. It was so overwhelming to have genuine concern. Like my battery was hot than a motherfucker. Like as soon as the email went out, like I think I probably got the first call within a minute and a half of the email going out. And it was just from that moment on for the next couple of days. And if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be able to swim now. I had to go through this ranking up process. I had to find my limitations. I had to find my why again. I had lost track of my why. My why started to become more about not disappointing my friend than it did fulfilling my vision, my mission, my dreams. Like where did I want to, and it was the AI that, not to talk about AI, but that was the split.
But we can
moment
talk about AI. I was just giving you shit.
Because I'm watching it and I'm going, it's getting further away from me. And it's really interesting to me. And my mind keeps drifting and wanting. And then I'd get just enough time to read something to get even more curious and excited. And I don't know if you guys know, but my number one stim as an ADHDer is learning and then trying.
Mine's actually, learning sex. Yeah, whatever. I think I just dug a hole again.
So, yeah. Well, what about you, Ed? You've gone on to do a bunch of stuff now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I wrote a post earlier this week about burnout, and I've learned a lot, I think trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do now. You know what I mean? I think good leaders are supposed two things about good leaders. There's lots of things, but two things. One is a good leader is always looking for their replacement. I think getting out of the way, finding people that are better than me. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's how you keep pushing the ball forward. That, and then I think good leaders a good leader doesn't want to be needed. A good leader wants to be wanted, but not needed. Every time I'm needed, I think it's an opportunity to empower somebody else to fill that void, somebody better than me. So in doing all that in the last, couple of years, I now find myself like, okay, what now? I'm transitioning from more of a doer to more of a, like, what, So it's this new chapter of life where I'm struggling a little bit to figure out what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing right now. I think it's a good struggle, and I think I'll figure it out. But I have anxiety when I'm not doing something.
If it was me, I would look at you from the advisor side of things. You've got such life experience, both business and non-business related. I did the same thing yesterday. Van over at Anixia, she and I sat down and had a long conversation while we were doing the stuff, and the same thing with today. And we talked about life-related stuff. What's it like to start a business? What's it like to drive? What's it like to do this? How well do things work and don't work? And I think you have so much knowledge and experience in that field. And I think, from being able to impart that to people, either verbally, either one-on-ones, one-to-many, book, whatever it is, video, that kind of stuff, I think that would be ridiculously valuable.
That's great advice, man. I appreciate that. That's another thing that I got so much from our time together, is you get these perspectives. I've learned to appreciate other people's perspectives who don't see the world the way I'm seeing it right now. And then, especially if it's somebody who's trustworthy and somebody who's credible. And so, yeah, that means a lot, because it's funny you mentioned that, because today I had, 7 meetings, but 2 of those meetings were one was with a person who's trying to start his own VCSO practice.
Yeah.
And he wanted to talk about incident response, like how do you build an incident response plan and what does it look like and all that stuff. Actually, 3 meetings today. The first one was, Matt, Matt Goodacre, he's on here somewhere.
Yeah, no, Matt, yeah.
South Dakota.
Right? There was some network outage thing, he wanted to talk about, and he was bringing up like IWAN, right? And if for people who know IWAN, Mike, fucking Cisco, they fuck them, man. I mean, I used to be a Cisco. I drank all the Kool-Aid back in the day. Fuck, man, this IWAN. I get the concept, but you make it so fucking complicated, right? There's 4 different roles that these fucking routers play, and they fucking bullshit. So, but it was cool because that was like 4:30 this morning, whatever. And we talked for like an hour of just like coaching. And it felt good because, man, I want him to succeed. I want him to fucking kill it. And then this other guy wanted to talk about incident response. And then the last guy was a Marine who served for years. And that's what got my attention, and he wants to start his own business. And I'm like, he's like, what kind of advice can you give me for starting your own business? And I'm like, well, number one, I see it all the time. Fucking commit.
Yeah, big time.
Either do it or don't. But so to your point, Chris, man, I appreciate that. It just reinforces what I think maybe
totally.
Yeah, that is what this chapter is supposed to be.
Well,
yeah,
well, I was just going to say, so no bullshit today, had a call where we need what's in yours heads. I got to put that in a system now, because if we don't get it in, it's not going in. It's not in the training data. It's the wisdom element is absent. And
we're seeing that big time. Let's face it. Yeah.
We ought to be very careful whose wisdom we decide to go with. And I think I'm looking at 2 pretty good candidates here for at least one of the topic sets.
There's a lot of shit advice from veterans in this industry. You read it and you're like, what the fuck did you just say?
No. Hot glue has always been a viable control.
God. Yeah.
I miss the days that we could rely on Darwinism to actually win the herd. Unfortunately, we put too many fucking rubber mats in place.
Now we could do figure 2 or 3. That's the new herd thinner.
Yeah. That's what we need to be. We need to be like to Chip Harris's, quote, we dirty old wizards.
Yeah. Yeah, I do get called Dumbledore every now and again. I am Dumbledore. Maria Graham's also one of her kids refers to me as Dumbledore, and I'm like, I'm digging that. I can definitely deal with that.
Yeah. So where are you at now, Chris? I mean, what have you been up to, man? We haven't had a chance to talk much. And
hey, what was I doing last time? Was I at Boom? When I started at Boom, was I at Boom, or was I
think you were at Boom? Yeah,
I don't know what the hell's with the teenagers. Did you pick up extra family or something?
Yeah, I inherited. I inherited, or whatever you want. Yeah, we'll get to that in a wee second. Yeah. There's change. Change is an understatement. That's probably the best way to put it. It's been a lively couple of years. Let's talk about work for a second, because that's been shits and giggles. Let's just say Boom was great, and it was going along nicely, and Charles Valentine, who was my boss there, is freaking amazing. And then Charles decides to pull the parachute and get the hell out of there as fast as humanly possible. And it comes to transpire that the leadership's ability to continue to focus on the ever-changing technology isn't really there, which is a bit of a challenge when you're building the next generation supersonic jet, And then we get shuffled under somebody else, and it's shuffled under somebody else, and then we get shuffled, and then they decide that security really isn't that bad, and we'll be fine, and it'll be okay, and everything will be good, and we don't need to worry about it. And at which point I'm like, and because I signed on certain things, I'm out of here. Tried explaining, tried doing things, and they just didn't want to listen. And I'm like, given all of the fiduciary stuff that the various federal legal agencies are putting on to the senior leadership and the CISOs these days, I'm like, I don't need to be in any more bloody firing ranges, arrested, orange jumpsuits shit again. So took a step back. I started up another fun thing, and then all of a sudden Newsfire and I had a long conversation. I went and hung out with Newsfire for a short period of time. And then a very, very dear friend of mine hit me up and said, hey, you want to come play? And I'm like, what are you up to? And so I got this screenshot of her and another dear friend of mine on a whiteboard, and I laughed. I'm like, what the hell are you up to? What the hell is this doing? What the fuck with those balloons? Did you see
What
this?
happens if
I
I do
want to see if
this?
they turn up on the YouTube. I want to see if they go on the YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm
you got
waiting for this. I want to see if YouTube catches up with this stupid. Oh my God! There's fucking balloons on YouTube. All right,
do that one.
we'll have some. All right.
In fact, you got startled by it.
Yeah.
Some stupid thing on fucking computers. I swear.
Yeah.
Yes,
What
spiders.
the fuck's these balloons? Get the fucking things.
Stupid.
I've done
bloody
that too.
things.
I've been on what do you call that? FaceTime, and shit like that's happened. I'm like, the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm now working for another large corporation, and I'm actually enjoying it. I've stepped away from the leadership side of I've stepped away from human leadership, should we say, and I'm now back geeking out and having fun and being a techie, and kind of like Ryan, I'm learning. I'm tinkering, I'm researching, I'm having fun. I'm in all sorts of meetings with all sorts of folks, explaining all sorts of interesting stuff, and having fun with it. And
Awesome.
yeah, I'm enjoying it a
So
lot.
you found your groove.
Yeah, it's at least, touch wood, hopefully for a while. It would be nice to actually pause for a little bit on this one and enjoy this. It's that, I remember I talk about stability of pillars. And this to me, the work pillar feels, although today somebody took a bit of a sledgehammer to it because of some stuff, but it is what it is. It'll get worked through, and it's something I can't really talk about, unfortunately, not at the moment. But everything is good with me inside the organization. It's just the organization and some stuff. Yeah. So that's that.
Nice.
I got to the point where there was no reasons for me to be in Colorado anymore, and for a number of different reasons. Change of few of them. And Morgan and I are now kicking ass again, which is really, really nice. So she and I actually went to Iron Maiden concert a couple of weeks ago, which was absolutely fantastic. I flew back to Colorado,
Nice.
and we went out, had fun. She had her first official drink as an adult, an over 21 adult, which was actually rather splendid.
Congratulations,
there's
man.
that.
That warms my heart, brother.
Yeah, so glad to have that whole thing in a good position. And yes, I have inherited a 9-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
it's and a very wonderful young lady to boot, which has been rather nice as well. I'm very one of those I didn't see that coming, wasn't expected, not any of that shenanigans. I was about ready to leave Colorado and literally just disappear in a few different directions, and that changed. So I came to this general direction, and yeah, it's good. The 16-year-old is actually rather fantastic. She is a 16-year-old, but she's actually, to her credit, she's learning and listening. And the 9-year-old somewhat reinforces that faith in humanity to some degree, which is rather nice. And, their mum's been on her own for quite a number of years and has done an absolutely fucking fantastic job of raising them. So, and it's really nice. I mean, when the first kind of conversation is, I don't need anybody to rescue me. I want somebody to partner with me. I mean, that really sets a fantastic stage. So it was actually really, really, it's been good. It's that side of it. Alhamdulillah is good.
But man, just an observation, it's cool that, we're three guys that, I don't have any other motive. You know what I mean? I genuinely love you guys, and I've grown to appreciate the uniqueness of you. One of the observations, just because it's been so long, Chris, since I've seen you, is you seem to me to be more genuine, more transparent, and more content than I remember you 2 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's my honest, opinion.
No, I totally appreciate it.
Because, one of my things that my own business partner, I'm going to throw him under the bus, not to mention his name, but Kevin. We have this thing, and especially in the United States, I think, where we lack contentment.
Yes.
We're always looking for more and more and more. And Kevin, we had this conversation that came to a head because I've always been, we're two different people. He's my work wife, so it's a love-hate relationship. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without him. I appreciate everything about this guy. But as a friend of his, I kept seeing him like he'd ask for more. Like, I control his pay, right? Because in our partnership, I'm the majority. So, he'd always want more, like, how much do you want? He's like, well, he wouldn't give me a number. And I'm like, I'm not going to get through the shit. Give me a fucking number. And so he gave me a number and I'm like, all right, let's say I did that. Let's say I'm fine with that, right? What's it going to be next year? What's it going to be the year after that? What's it going to be the year after that? When's it going to be enough for you where you're going to find the one thing that you're actually fucking looking for, which isn't more money. The thing you're actually fucking looking for is contentment. You're looking for fucking joy. And that shit is right in fucking front of you. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. And he said, and he replied back to me, well, that's easy for you to say. I mean, you're living in Mexico, loving life. I go, dude, you fucking know me. I was content when I was losing my fucking house when we first started FR Secure.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you chase that thing, it's never enough. And it's not about things. It's about gratefulness.
It's an interesting one. So, Jesse Sweet and I dissolved HHS almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Like it was
long after
we dissolved it. That didn't end well. I mean, I waved goodbye to probably about 150 watches and several hundred bottles of whiskey, probably 300-400 bottles. And that was another, after waving goodbye to 500-600 of them when I had to pay the legal bills, I auctioned those off and got all the legal bills taken care of. And then when we split up, and then unfortunately after we split up, the three of us went our separate ways, I found that there was some more debt behind the scenes in the company that had to be paid. And that hit me in the pocket and they wouldn't step up. So that hit me again in the pocket. So that was a bunch more stuff went walkabout. And it got to the point where I'm like, why do I have this stuff? Why? Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the watches. I still love watches. But I'm sitting here. I've been wearing an Apple Watch for the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months, pretty much. I've worn a couple of watches once a blue moon. I don't know. The watch winder is literally sitting there and it's been there since April. I haven't plugged it in. The watches are in there. I maybe worn one of them, but I haven't plugged the damn thing in. The car I now drive, I mean, you guys know what I was like with cars. I now drive, I got a 2011 Suburban. It's my bike car. My mountain bike and my road bike are worth more than the freaking Suburban. And I pay cash for the damn thing, and I have one other car I'm about ready to probably get rid of because I'm like, I don't need the bloody thing. It's not contentment. And this is a weird one because there's still a part of me that likes collecting. It's the dragon, it's the ADHD, it's the whatever, but stuff.
Memories.
But
it's memories.
Yeah.
At least for me,
that.
Stuff like that's why I'm always getting t-shirts or whatever. It's so I can.
But I have my badges.
Actually...
for conferences. I have my badges. I have 20,000 pictures on my bloody iPad. I've got countless of others of that stuff, and it's collecting the experiences now as opposed to collecting stuff that gathers dust. I mean, I've got all my challenge points, but I got to the point when I left Colorado. It was like, if I can't fit it in the back of the in the back of the car in an 8-foot trailer, it ain't coming with it. It isn't. It really isn't. And I just don't have the Mustang anymore, buddy. It's gone.
Well, and that was, that was the thing. I mean, those were not the things that I ever admired about you. I didn't admire the shit that you had.
No,
I admired the man behind it.
And that was me. And I think part of it was driven a little bit. I mean, when I moved up to Netherlands, I started to really take a step out. The cabin that I had up in Netherlands was maybe 700-800 square feet, maybe. And it had 2 gas-fired stoves, and that was an analog fired thing. And that was it. And it was fantastic, and I loved it. And it was and it set me back to that simple way. It set me back to what do I actually care about? And what I cared about was my time to go mountain biking, my time to be out in nature, my time to just do what, it was time. It had nothing to do with, I need to collect the next big bike to go on. I need to do this. I need to do this. It was time, and it was enjoying that time up in the hills. But it's the same kind of thing here. I'm in the middle of the bloody swamps, and for me now, it's about time. It's about time to spend with home. It's about time to spend with the kids. It's about time to go for me, it's about time to go for a bike ride. I now work so that I can actually enjoy the time off.
Dude, there's so much fucking wisdom in what you just said. I'm one of those guys where like, I want to know like wisdom. I was thinking, what the fuck is wisdom and how do I get more of it? And what I've kind of discovered is, the two main ways to get wisdom is to listen to it, right? So somebody who's been there before shares it with you and you take that in. The other way is experience, but not just any kind of experience. It's experience with pain. And so fuck, we've all been beat the shit out of, you know what I mean? So when you think about that, it's like,
why?
Right.
That's why, stupid. Don't do it.
Well, you and I talk, Ryan, what was it? Saturday, Sunday or something? We were talking and you were sharing, and I'm not going to share any details because it was a private conversation, but there was pain in that.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
there was a fuckload of pain in what you were sharing with me. And I'm like, you're going to survive. You're going to get through it. You're going to be better off on the other side of this. And you're going to have a fuckload of wisdom to share when you're done with it.
Well, and this will go back to my Jesus struggle, right? Going through, you're refined by fire. You have to. This is so true to our human experience, and that's what worries me about our impending doom. Technological future.
No, it's impending doom. I'm surprised we've lasted this long, to be honest.
It ain't gonna last much longer.
I've run the math. It goes a place. But there's a lack of that just in us people. I saw it. I saw what happened the last 2 years, guys. I don't know. I was still paying attention. The world went to some weird places.
It's still in a weird fucking place, man.
I don't know if you're deep fake. I'm just saying. I trust that it's you guys, because it'd be really hard to deep fake you guys, the quirks we all have.
It's actually the beard. It's the beard. At the moment, and I gave this as some advice at a conference like a week or two ago. I said, look, for those of you that are capable, grow the motherfucker. For those of you
like a
that aren't capable of growing a beard,
I'm trying.
Go steal one. Go steal a beard. Steal a beard or make a beard. There are a number of people in the audience who will probably not likely do a beard without some serious chemical help. So I'm like, just go make one or steal one, because at the moment, the ability to deep fake this in its own nuances is a lot harder. Now, tomorrow, different conversation. Yeah.
This is the more styled the hair is as well.
Did I just hear a fucking motorcycle motor?
Yes.
Come from what the fuck was that?
So I have an alarm that goes off every day at this time.
And it's a Harley motor?
As a motivator, and it's a Harley motor as a nod to my friend who often.
Just when I think
I couldn't love you
one for Chris
too.
What the fuck are you doing?
Chris is my garbage alarm.
I like
the garbage alarm.
I want that Harley motor's pretty fucking sweet.
But because as we live in an increasingly more disconnected workplace, more disconnected world, remote, everybody remote, all my friends are on the other end of a keyboard, right?
Yeah.
There's little tiebacks. There's little things. I don't know if anybody listening has this phenomenon, but I'm finding that just like today, I called Evan up and I said, hey man, can I use the office? Just come in with somebody to just do a work session, not even really work with them. I just needed another human that knew enough about the topic that when I was look at this and ask a question, right? Because that feedback loop, right? It's not the same. It's different in person than it is digitally. It just is.
Yeah.
And so, so I have little triggers and reminders. And Chris, by the way,
do you want to go back into the office?
Few more screenshots, but you're getting your own head sticker this year.
Hey,
not just
that reminds me, Ryan, before I forget, do you want to go into the office more regularly? Because we can just set up a schedule where you can go on in there. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't hate the experience of being in a room that I don't own.
You want my tag? You can just have it.
Well, tell you what, we can clone it. So go get some tinfoil.
This one gets you in.
No, I'm saying
This
we
one
can do live on the show remotely. So what you gonna do is
This one gets you into the building, right? And at 24/7, and this one gets you into the office. So you
yeah,
can just have them. I don't
well,
use
that's
them.
beautiful. I can get into the building on my own 24/7 because one night I was locked out and I was able to figure out the key code for the external box.
Well, let me tell you something, Ryan. Do you know who owns that building?
I might, which is why I felt brave enough to try tapping the numbers.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know if we own the whole building, but we own. I don't even know what the fuck we own. I don't give a shit.
But yeah, sometimes it's nice because I've been using the library, and today so I've been like booking rooms at the library to just have a space.
Will's getting all fucking technical now. He's like flipper file. What the fuck?
No, flipper
Clone
file.
it, dump the file.
No
Clone it,
flipper
dump the
file.
Yeah.
Will, that's illegal. What are you teaching your students, Will?
Just email me the flipper.
Is this what
It's
you're
the same
teaching
thing I'm
your
doing at
students?
the airport. The same thing, like the airport, the
So this one's for the.
There you go.
I love it. I'm gonna go. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Keep talking. I'm gonna. I need to look with. Actually, it's with me.
He's
bring it
gonna
with
be
me.
back.
No, I'm bringing it with me.
Oh,
I just got back from a trip, so I'm.
Are we going to the bathroom? Where are we going?
I was wondering the same thing. I mean, we're
No,
good
you're
friends.
good. I need to unpack and I need to do stuff at the same time. So I'm gonna talk and do stuff at the same time.
This
Have you
is standard fare for the shit show.
Have
Yeah.
you ever? I might have done this recently. You know, I use my earbuds a lot with my phone when I'm in meetings.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
can just. And I thought I had put it on mute.
Oops.
And I went and I had to pee. So I'm like peeing.
Not done that.
Didn't realize I wasn't in mute. Nobody fucking said anything. And then I take my phone out of my pocket again. I'm like, shit. And nobody said anything, but I know they fucking heard me pee.
Best one ever. I'm on a global call for the big egg giant I used to work for. So it's one of these, everybody's supposed to be muted and you got 1,500 people on a call all across the world. One of the leaders finishes delivering their plan. And on cue, on the ending word, you hear,
Cool. Nice.
I love it. Well,
and you could feel like that everybody wanted to laugh, but they weren't sure if they could. And so you felt that the air left the room and there was like this suppression of laughter, which made it even funnier.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
one's travel tea bags.
Ooh, travel tea bags.
That's for the TSA, just so you guys know that there's nothing in those tea bags.
Yeah,
Just tea.
just proper tea.
Not Mexican
Good
tea.
Not Mexican tea. No.
No,
No.
good tea.
We said earlier on, like the world is not better off since we've been
Not
gone,
at all.
right?
No, not a chance. Sorry. Has to
Yeah.
get dark, but no.
I know, right? Well, I posted something on LinkedIn. I don't know how long ago it was, but just a poll. I wanted to get people's perspective. I think perspective is awesome, man. And I just asked, I started in this industry in 1990, and with this mission of like fixing the broken industry, have we made any fucking progress?
Yes. Yes, we actually have. Now you have.
Okay, tell me how.
I
Because
will.
the question was, have we made any progress? Are we more secure than we were in 1992?
So to the compound nature of that question, to the first step, yes, I will defend fiercely. We have made progress, but that progress has not yet made it to effect. But with all
Funny.
journeys, you don't get to the end right away. And I'll tell you exactly how. And it's called the Cyber Informed Engineering. So it's an initiative out of Idaho National Laboratories that I'm involved with to bring adversarial design thinking to
Did you say
mechanical
Idaho?
engineers, electrical engineers. What?
Did you say Idaho?
Yes, Idaho.
Every time somebody says Idaho, I giggle. Did you know that?
Why? Because you depend.
Idaho, yo. Same
So-
with like that and like Mexico City. You know what I actually hear when some people say Mexico City?
Mexico City.
This is my fucking
I do-
brain,
I do
man.
think
All
we've
right, so
made-
tell me about this
made
cyber
that-
initiative thing.
Right? We're thinking different. We're trying to teach different. I was just at Dunwoody here in Minnesota. They said, we've got an industrial control system in our cyber lab. We want to work more with industry. There's not enough people stepping in to fill the gap, but the gap has people standing on either side reaching out to each other. So I would argue that we are making progress, not enough, not fast enough, not in all the right areas.
All right. So from your perspective, you're saying we're making progress, meaning security things, but
root
in
cause-
terms of
root
are we
cause.
more secure,
We're
meaning
addressing
is
poor
there more
security
risk
by
today
design.
than there was? Is there more risk today than there was in 1992?
Yes, 100% more risk.
So then from a risk perspective, we have not made progress.
We gone backwards. Like,
From
We've got-
yes, I agree with this. However, for the next go round of the audit, we might be a little bit better off, right? So we're making longer term adjustments earlier in the chain, but they'll take time to propagate.
Well, because the fact of the matter is, man, we continue to adopt. And I think until we actually get some fucking pain, we continue to adopt new technologies much faster than our ability to use them responsibly.
And it's speeding up. And here's the thing. So 2 years ago, this November, we were all focused on quantum because that was the next big thing. And some dingbat decided to release to 5.5 billion people generative AI without any rules, without any instructions, without anything. And they said, woohoo, enjoy. And at which point, fight, flight, and freeze took over. And so we took our eye off of basically the whole concept of where are we going to be in 5-10 years. And we are once again on the back foot fighting. The problem is quantum hasn't slowed down.
Nope.
And it's about to hit us. And in some ways it is. And it's going to hit us. And it's going to hit us harder than we've been hit before. Harder than we've been hit with generative. Harder than we've been hit with narrow models, large language, the whole lot. And that's the challenge. We're reeling from one blow. You know, we had time. The last big blow, arguably, and I'll take on this one, it was like bring your own device. 10 years ago, 10, 11-ish years ago, we went from everything in our network is ours to what the fuck is in our network. Now, that was very close. That was like, it was bring your own device along with IoT and that side of it. But that all came in one clump. And we've had time to figure that shit out. We haven't figured it out. We've had time to figure it out. And now we're going to get hit. We've been hit now with a very open AI model and then a generative AI model. But real fast, we're going to get hit with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Well, and that's that hyperconvergence. And
right.
And so the other thing that I see that's the bigger risk, and we're not even talking about it, is the relationship change that we're about to have with technology. If you think people are hooked up to their phone now, I'm not even talking about the bionics. I'm not talking about the biosynthetics. I'm not talking about the embeddables. Okay. I'm not talking about the Internet of Body.
Yeah.
With the fucking embedded neural nets. I'm talking that we have a generation of kids today that are interacting with some of those generative AI. And we've already had a suicide. We just had the first AI talk to me into killing myself event.
That's the first
provable like tie back where it's like
first one that made the news.
There was one they can point to, right?
Yeah.
But I agree. But here's the thing. Today, there's no mechanism for dealing with that. We think we might have one, maybe there's but then it's just more tokens and attaching tokens. Well, to me, that's just making another mess. Remember data lakes? Don't worry, we got data warehouse, we got data lake. We're just gonna throw everything in the pool, and we'll work it out, everything will be fine. And it was a disaster. And we're right back at it, and it's the same underpinning tech as well, right? But our relationship with it changes. Like there's a new term, Chris. I think I've coined a new term, but I don't know, so I'm gonna run it past you guys as well. I'm calling it cognitive deference. And it's when we're defaulting our responsibility of thinking to the computer.
I was just going to say, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And I see that happening at an accelerated rate. So even though we haven't quite got AGI, even though, all this stuff is still advanceable and advancing, yeah. I think the break has already started to happen. I think that the damage aspect of it has already begun. And that worries me a lot because I don't hear anybody talking about it. I'm actually going to be starting a podcast called Human Alignment. And Chris, you're going to
is
be
that
on
what
it.
you were
Evan,
talking
I'm going
about?
to have you on
Yeah.
it. I want to talk about the really hard shit. You want to build a consciousness? You don't understand your own. Let's walk this back a second.
So you're talking sentience?
And not to stop it. Not to stop it because there's no stopping. You can't be that guy. I promise. They wouldn't let me in the room if I was like, no, we can't make money with this. Like, get the fuck out of here. Right? We have to change the arc of the exponent. We gotta move ahead of the curve, because the folks that are building are great at building, but they're not thinking about those impacts. And if you go to the folks that are really, I think cyber people are the right people for this problem. And I think it's what our job's going to evolve into. I don't think it's going to be about firewalls. I think people that are good in this business are good in it because they've figured out the problem matrix, right? They understand it. They're able to navigate. Data point is a data point. It might be a log. It might be a data artifact. It might be a whatever, a packet on the network, but it's still at the end of the day, a data point. And if you can think that way, I think you're the perfect person to deal with this emergent technology stack, because it's all based around that idea that 1 can be 2 and 2 can be 4 and 4 can be 42,000 to the power of 99, depending on which angle you look at it.
Right.
So I don't know, guys. I think Evan, when we get to that advisor piece that Chris touched on earlier, and Chris, this is true for you too, guys, I think it's on us to help that transition phase. Because the skill that made us good at our job is the critical thinking aspect. It's the deconstruct.
Right.
It's the, okay, yeah, something happened, but what, when, where, walk it back.
Yeah.
And that's not a commonly taught skill set any longer.
Right. My dad always taught me that shitty choices have consequences, and so when I do something that's irresponsible, I should expect consequences for that. And the sad thing about our industry is there's so many shitty fucking choices and nobody's suffering consequences yet.
I'm suffering the consequences.
But
I'm the one that's dealing with increased prices on things and dealing with.
Well, I'm talking worse than that, man. I'm talking worse than what you are suffering today. Right?
Yeah.
That's another thing about shitty choices. The consequences are commensurate with the shitty choice.
But why should you suffer consequences? So the future we're building is you're going to suffer the consequences of somebody else's shitty choice. And you didn't even get a chance to.
And that's why I'm pissed off about it. Why should I have to pay for your shitty choices?
But we've done that for our lives. We've always done that. Think about this. We went through the industrial age.
Yeah.
And we're still burning every single fossil fuel we can get our hands on. And we're wondering why we have environmental issues. We ship contaminants around the world in single-hulled vessels and wonder why when they sank, we killed off wildlife across half of the planet. We do all of this knowing the consequences, but we don't live long enough to have to worry about them.
That's very true. And just to show you how pissed off I get it with paying for other people's problems, I live in there's a homeowners association here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are 3 people. There's 25, 28 houses here. 3 people who aren't paying their dues.
That sucks.
And so I went up and I asked them, I went to their house. They didn't expect this, but I said, why aren't you paying your dues? I mean, I'm not like leadership of the homeowner association, but I want to know why you're not paying your fucking dues. And they're like, well, because I don't agree with the choices that leadership is making. I said, well, then why the fuck are you making me suffer the consequences for that? Because right now you're a freeloader. I'm paying your fucking bills for you.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I guess I didn't see it that way. I'm like, well, you should start seeing it that way because you're really going to piss me off because I don't like supporting neighbors that don't want to be neighborly. But it's the same sort of thing with information security. I don't want to support in my neighborhood, cyber security, information security neighborhood. People that are doing the right thing shouldn't have to pay the price for the people who aren't. And that's what it's going to come down to when there are more consequences and things to pay. But here's the kicker. I have a contingency plan. When shit goes to shit, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
I'm not going to pay the price for it.
A lot
I
of
can
people
live
will.
my life completely fine without any technology.
Yeah.
without power.
Yep.
Without water. I mean, I need water, but I don't need the water that's supplied to me by somebody else.
Right. And that,
And that's where we're heading, man. And people are gonna get fucked.
That's why I blacksmith.
Right.
I can take a rock and some fire and start reconstructing. So we'll apocalypse team. Chris has got the high ground.
And this is the thing too. People that know us know that we're not fear mongers. I'm not fear mongering. This is logic. This is reason. This is critical thinking, right? When you continue down a path, and there's a trend that you've established, it's not difficult to predict the outcome.
Right.
I think it's just Chip Harris has lots of ammo. So, I also take inventory of the places that I can go for refuge. So Chip Harris might be a place I could go.
No, resupply is easy. That's just called your neighbors.
Yeah. No.
Although in this,
All right. I can make a flag. Well, I learned a lot too, because, I had my first, I'm 53 years old, and it was last year when I actually was directly involved with a natural disaster. I've helped in natural disasters, meaning like I went and bagged sand and shit, but it wasn't my house that was in the path of things, right? So you had, I never had one, and so last year we had that Category 4 hurricane hit directly here. And man, I learned a shitload about, resilience, about being prepared, and not the prepper kind of weird being prepared, but using your critical thinking, like what would happen if this happened and what's my contingency plan for it? The sad thing is, what percentage of people do you think on the planet today, or just say Americans, what percentage of Americans do you think have a contingency plan when tech goes to shit?
They don't have a contingency plan for when their fucking battery dies.
All right. So as a percentage, would you say less than 10%?
Have you seen how many people hug a wall?
I think you're lucky if you got 5.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No, I would say 5. You have a lot.
I mean, I'm talking globally? Or are we talking Americans?
No, just US. Just think US.
I would say 5. I would say 5%, because you do have a lot of people that are either partly off grid, completely off grid, want to be off grid. I'm surrounded in this neck of the woods. When the power goes out, half the freaking place stays alive because everybody, it's a bunch of fucking hillbillies in the woods, in the swamps.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think we have like three people groups that have kind of, you have the elderly, my parents, right? The generation before me.
Yeah.
Who today in the tech world, for the most part, kind of lost, right?
Yeah.
They're surviving and stuff, but kind of lost because they didn't grow up with this. And then you have our generation who spans the gap, right? We started when we were kids. We didn't have phones attached to us. It wasn't until I was like 18 that I had a beeper.
Right.
Yeah. And we called it a beeper. You might call it a pager. Whatever you want to call it. Right. And then, so we have this gap. So we have this advantage of wisdom to know what it was like before and know what it's like now. And we've seen this movement. Then you have the generation to follow, my kids, who are so dependent on fucking technology. So many of them don't know how to do the basic skill shit. Like make a fire. A what?
A what?
Yeah.
Well, here's
water.
how bad it's
Why
getting.
just turn on the fucking faucet or I get a bottle of water? What if there's no fucking bottle of water?
Well, here you go. It's even within the tech we have, this problem exists. The Chromebook generation. So we've got kids that are coming into the workforce. We were talking about this at a couple of the universities I'm working with, that they don't have what we would consider 101 computer skills. Like 101. I'm not talking A+ computer skills. I'm not talking build a machine skills. I'm talking about power it up, open up Word. Yo, what's Word?
Are you serious?
I am dead serious. It's a whole phenomenon. You can Google this. It's called the
so
Chromebook
cool
generation.
Chris, look at Chris's.
This camera's out of control, man. I'm loving it.
Camera's having fun. It has no
It's just fun as hell.
Because they're used to using apps, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the mobile, they were raised on tablets and Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And when you sit them down in front of a fucking Dell workstation, they lose their loving minds. Okay, that's a right now problem. They can't even use because we fucked it up.
You know, last year
We're talking
they've been doing it,
graduating, like their whole school career, kindergarten to
right. I mentioned this, you know, a couple episodes ago on this podcast. I had my wife on, you know, because she made a great observation. I think she came home from a trip, and she was pissed off that there's too much fucking tech, she says. And I'm like, okay, I agree with you, but share with me what you're thinking. What does that mean? What's your perspective on this? And she's like, well, you know, at the airport, you know, I saw couples, you know, married couples, families that sat at the terminal for an hour or 2 hours and didn't say a fucking word to each other.
Yeah.
They were just
like
on their
this.
fucking phones.
Yeah.
And so having her on the podcast, I know my wife prepares a lot, so I didn't want her to out prepare me, you know, because that once again, she'd make me look stupid. So I found a study that I guess I think it's Northwestern University. Every year since like 1930 something, they've been tracking the average IQ of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And every year it's increased. Every year it's either increased or remained flat. It's never, ever decreased in 90 something years. Last year was the first time it decreased. It went from 100 to 98. And I was like,
that's a significant drop.
I know. And I'm like, fuck. But, you know, us knowing math and trends and shit like that, maybe let's see what next year is, right? If it stays there or goes lower, well, then it's like, oh, shit.
So I got to find this.
That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to go lower.
No. Well, it is. And I'll tell you why. There's actually another study. I just learned about this. Let me find the link and put it in the chat for everybody. But is a study they did on attention. Problem is why we're all fucking anxietied out, why we're all super stressed out is that we live in a world where the apps are designed for engagement. And we turned everything into a 15-second fucking soundbite. And we're never focusing. We don't do, even in our work, guys, how many times do you get 7 uninterrupted hours to do anything, ever? Truly uninterrupted, right? And it turns out that human beings will flourish if they are given those non-disruptive hours. But because we carry the damn device in our pocket and it's binging and bonging and tinging and tanging and buzzing and Chris, you probably get carpal tunnel from twisting the Apple Watch on the wrist, okay? Because that's the truth of the matter. Just because you don't respond to them, it doesn't mean you don't look at it. And you're paying a cost. You're paying a 27-minute cost of attention loss. Whatever thought you had before that distraction occurred, it is 27 minutes of mental processing time to get back to that. Now tell me what span of 27 minutes you have that is not interrupted.
I 100% agree with that, man.
So,
you know, to reinforce reinforce what you're saying, my own mother, who's like 70, I don't know, 77, she's super intelligent. She's the smartest woman I've ever met. She worked for IBM and in tech, you know, in the 70s when like that was unheard of for a female, right? I was talking to her about, she's also the same mother that called me a bigot once, but that's a whole different story. She told me that she never reads news articles. She only reads the headline.
Yeah.
Which is ad. And I told her, I'm like, holy shit, Mom, that's not the way you used to be. Mm-hmm. Like you used to read the whole fucking thing and you used to be more skeptical and you used to be more discerning. But it seems like now you're just, maybe it's just because we're so inundated with all this shit. But
it's because the headline is designed. It's literally engineered. Here's the other side of the equation.
Totally.
What we've done is we've monetized. And I don't want to like steal this guy's talk, but it fucking just blew my mind because everything he said, I'm like,
and the headline doesn't tell. How many times have you fucking read a headline and then actually read the article and realize that the headline actually doesn't fit the fucking article?
Shit to do with the article.
Yeah, way too many times.
A pig loose in, City Park, and you read the article, and it's like, on Tuesday, Jerry voted yes for the garbage initiative.
Right.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts. So if are people like that? Are people just consuming? I
Yes.
think I think I already know the answer.
Yeah.
They're just
Totally.
consuming the headline and making decisions based on that headline.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, and do
Fuck,
you guys
man.
remember when we Evan, do you remember
We've
when we had
fucking made progress since 1992. What the fuck are you talking about?
so do you remember
man.
we talked about that? What was it? I forget the exact stat, but it's something like 60% of people don't have an inside voice.
We had that conversation. I don't know if it was that high, but it was a hell of a
But-
lot. It was a lot more than
So
I assumed it would.
this is a now check that out. Now take that and factor in
But I'm still listening.
the next couple steps here. So you
Yeah.
have the fact that we have a reduced attention window, okay? Significantly lower now than ever in history. We
Yeah.
have a significant part of the population who has no inner monologue, no ability to reflect on thoughts, actions, or whys. And then we have a monetized system that prefers high intensity, high emotion content because that leads to increased engagement. And so when you go to the engineers and say, how do I make money? And they say, keep those eyeballs on the screen,
Yeah.
come up with some pretty wicked algorithms for keeping those eyeballs on the screen. And when you then study the users and find out that unfortunately humans are a bit crap and we tend to like drama more than we like happiness,
Yeah.
it becomes this
Yeah. That's what it
self-feeding,
is.
self-propelling shit swirl, right? And so I think that's what we're dealing with. I did put the link for everybody in the live chat to that guy's talk. Don't watch it now, but do watch it. It really it gave me more motivation to practice the disconnect. Are you still doing that, Chris? The Saturday disconnect?
Yeah. Pretty much. Not completely, but for as much as I can. I definitely like at dinner times and stuff like that. We're getting much more of that. But yes, Saturday. Honestly, that's my bike ride. My bike ride is my disconnect. It is 2 hours, an hour to 2, maybe sometimes 3 hours. Saturday especially, it's 3, 4, just completely to help with the world. And I love it.
It's
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
so
I
I don't
need
know
to
if you
do
caught
more.
all that Ev, but
I caught it all. Like, I got these things. This is Bluetooth, man.
what?
Yeah, it's fucking blow your
Isn't
mind.
that
It's
a
in my fucking head,
1940s
bro.
technology? I'm pretty sure it's a 1940s.
I don't give a shit. It works for me. Hey, it's interesting you mentioned like this disconnect.
Mhm.
Kudos to you, Chris, for doing that, because I think there's so many people that look up to you, that look up to me, that look up to you, Ryan. And, because as I'm feeling and hearing all these things and knowing that I've got one foot not pre-tech, there's always been tech, but I mean like tech today.
Pre-dig.
And today's tech, I feel the weight that I'm supposed to be sharing this wisdom that only our generation has. The generation before us doesn't have it.
Nope.
The generation
Right.
after us doesn't have it.
Right.
We do have it. And so we need to get out there and share it more, speak the truth. If people don't like us, I don't give a fuck if you like me or not.
Right.
I don't want to see you kill yourself.
Right.
And so, Chris, kudos to you for setting a good example. One of the things that, I wrote about that burnout thing. I've been here before. You guys have been here before, right? I've been burned out. This isn't the first time I've been here. And this time I was pissed off about it. This time I was like, what the fuck, man? Why? I know these things. I've been here before, but it creeps up on you. It's sneaky as shit. You don't even know it's there. And so I was like, I'm going to be intentional about it this time. I'm going to try to create a plan, because the thing about burnout, it's not because you're working too much. It's not because what you're doing is you're neglecting the healthy things in your life. That's what leads to burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Things like free time, things like tech disconnect, things like hobbies, things like talking face to face with people, things like putting down my fucking phone and looking my wife in the face and listening to what she's fucking saying.
So this is where, to Ryan's point, that I wear the Apple Watch because of the exercise side of it. The downside with it is it took me a while to get it tuned to a point where it doesn't buzz every 10 seconds. It's not perfect, and every now and again when I'm on a bike ride, the stupid thing will still buzz because I've forgotten, or the alarm's going, or whatever the hell it is. And so I'm caught in this kind of like, I want to know how I'm exercising, which means I could probably put a Fitbit or something on. but I also want to be able to disconnect. And so I think we do it to ourselves. And to your point, it creeps up because it is, Ryan, you're right. It's this thing goes off and you squirrel and you eventually get back to it. Or if I'm biking, I'm in my own little zone and it goes and I don't truly disconnect. Or
Right.
I mean, I've got written on my desk, I had it on my calendar and I started to ignore it. Downtime, and I would start to ignore it. And now I've written on my desk in paper.
I have been trying very hard to balance because as I prototype, so like I was trying to convince myself that time spent playing and prototyping wasn't the same tech time as spent working and emailing, and wasn't the same tech time as spent being on the phone with friends and doing that. You know what I mean? And really the deal was I was putting down the phone to pick up a tablet, putting down the tablet to pick up a laptop, putting down a laptop to turn on a TV.
Yep.
And
I justify it right? It's crazy the fucking lies you tell yourself because you get caught up in it and you're like, this is healthy. It is. I'm researching something or I'm learning something.
Yep.
It's like
100%. The amount of times that I fucking stopped when I could no longer see even with the glasses because I had roached my eyes out on a screen from sun up to sundown and then wonder why I'm depressed for the next 2 days.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, at our core, just things about us, we are analog. Right. And think analog needs a translation. I mean, think back to the phone days, right? You had analog phone lines and you had to have a translation to do digital, right? You had a modem in place to do that. It wasn't native. And this isn't native to us. We need analog time.
No, we do.
The second thing about us is it's in our fucking DNA. We're social fucking creatures. I don't give a fuck if I'm an introvert. I don't really like people, but I need them. I have to have face-to-face time.
Speaking of analog, I've also started up this again.
Oh, dude.
Good.
Fuck, I'm so proud of you, man.
Good.
This is a big virtual hug for you, Mr. Chris Roberts, for living a fucking healthier life, man.
The downside on this one is I've got a couple of lenses and I'm like,
Now, is that true analog though? You shooting film?
No, it's not complete analog, but it's sure as hell. It takes a lot more time than picking up the camera phone.
It does. No, it does. And the lenses, right? I actually did I did a photo shoot, like a proper photo shoot for a friend. I don't really do professional shooting anymore as a matter of principle because turning it into a job killed all the passion. And when I finally rediscovered my passion for it, I swore to myself I was so lucky to have rediscovered it, right? Because I lost it. It was done. Fuck it. I'm never taking another picture again. I wouldn't even help people at the thing. Like, sir, would you take her? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But but then,
me, when you're dyslexic, when you say discover, you know what I heard? Discover.
Discover?
Yeah.
Usually,
it's like my wife. I play around because I think I have dyslexia, but I don't fucking know. My wife, she's like, we need to have a discussion. I'm like, we need to have a discussion.
Oh no, in my house it's dick suction. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, we do. We need much more of that.
I'm like, honey, yes, we do have a lot of dick suck here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this is the rated X part of the show. This is the explicit.
Yeah,
this is where we put the explicit tags on it. Yeah.
Rated MA.
But that's the thing. One of the things I loved about the time we spent together was the authenticity, where I could just say whatever the fuck's on my mind and I don't, I wrote this another article called The Circles. And like, when I think of what people think about me, I think of like circles. The first circle is Jesus, right? I care what. That's number one. Number two is my wife. Number three is family. Number four is friends. Number five is acquaintances. And then that's it. Mm-hmm. If you're not in one of those circles, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. And that's a healthy place to be because especially in today's world where we're so fucking connected, we're so social media shit, whatever. People talk shit all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, who do you think on social? I mean, the percentage of people that are actually talking transparent shit on social media is next to nothing.
I call it the say it to the face factor, right?
Yeah.
So they won't. So trust me, you'll run your mouth on social media, but you ain't about to say that shit to my face, right?
It's that, but there's the alternative, which to me is almost more destructive, because I had somebody hit me up the other day. It was like, hey, how are you doing LinkedIn? I'm like, just doing LinkedIn. He's like, well, what methodology, what persona? I'm like, I'm me. He's like, well, what do you recommend for me? I'm like, be you. He's like, well, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, look, be you. Because here's the problem. If you have to create this old persona, at some point you're going to lose yourself. At some point, people are going to lose you. I mean, there's so many downsides to it. It's just like, just be you. And Evan, to your point, I'm not going to please all the people all the time. And I've gotten to the point, and it's taken a while. I got to the point, it did take a while to go, I'm okay with that.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's healthy, man. I miss, and that's why I started this other podcast. Much like the security shit show, I don't care if anybody watches. I don't care if anybody listens. There's just a whole bunch of shit that it's healthy to get it off my chest.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife, God bless her, man. I love her and she wants to help so much, but she can't relate to the things that I'm talking about.
Right. I use LinkedIn for that. My LinkedIn
Yeah, your LinkedIn is awesome, dude. It's so fucking transparent. I love it.
I mean, tomorrow I've got a post lined up. I sat and did it on the plane because this last week has been a rough one. They're pretty rough, and for a bunch of different reasons. Yeah, for me, it was cathartic sitting down and writing it, but I'm also going to post it because, people still come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, you're da-da-da-da. I'm like, no, I'm just me. One, I sit down in the bathroom like everybody else does. And secondly, bad days. And those bad days sometimes run together. And here's how I deal with it.
And just to clarify, that sitting is with your hands on the seat and your ass facing over because I've seen some of these bathrooms. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, the reason why I have to sit in the bathroom more than I've ever had to do it before is it takes longer to pee. There's this thing called a prostate. And, standing was fine, but after a while, now with the way I pee, it's like, I'm fucking tired of standing. I need to sit down.
I heard there's some guys in Zona Romantica that'll help you out with that.
Good point. Maybe I'll take a look at that.
I hear they offer massage services.
Actually, no, fuck, I'm not doing that shit. For those older people out there, there's a drug that has no side effects that a friend of mine told me about.
No, that's not true. You cannot use those two words in a sentence together. I'm calling
just let me have my time, man. I'm just going to believe it.
You said
let me be ignorant in my own little world.
Waking up and breathing.
Something called tamsulosin. I don't know. I took it.
You need a doctor for that.
Not in Mexico. I don't need a fucking doctor in Mexico. I self-diagnose.
Well, yeah. Don't you have to? Isn't that how it works?
The doctors are actually really good. Marlis, my wife, had foot surgery a week and a half ago.
Oh, how's she doing?
Fucking amazing, man. I was really impressed. She was nervous because it was the first surgery she's had down here in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for a bunion. So it's not like, it's not crazy. And it was like a week and a half ago and she was in and out. They didn't put her to sleep or anything. I don't know what the fuck they did. And I went with her. So I went with her to that appointment. Then I went with her yesterday. Fuck, I don't know. And they redid the bandage, and they took it off. And I'm like, holy fuck, that looks good. Like, yeah, really good. So if you need bunion surgery, look me up. I'll hook you up.
Nice.
Anyway, my shoulder is up next to get looked at, and then when that's done, they got to get into the pancreas, and so we'll figure that. Yeah, we'll figure those two out over the next 6 months. Shoulder
surgery. That's depending on what it is. Mine was rotator cuff.
Yeah, I rugby tackled at 3 in quick succession, and then I also went down on the road bike. I was chasing something on a road bike. And I went down on it, went straight on the same shoulder like 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah, not
Hey,
true.
how many surgeries have we had? Ryan, how many surgeries have you had?
I've only had one.
What was it?
Well, wait, does wisdom teeth count?
Penis
Yeah, because
enlargement does
if you
not
got
count.
knocked out,
Nope,
that's
Wait. If knocked out is the requirement, then only one.
oh, I don't. Maybe not knocked out. I don't know. What are we defining as a surgery? Stitches or
Yeah,
I think
invasive or
it's
what?
something where they use a scalpel to cut into you.
Okay,
Let's
in
use
that
that.
case, I've had two, both for similar things, one known, one unknown. So I had a spermatozoid that turned into a giant third nut, and my ball bag was looking real weird, and I thought I might
I had
have
that too.
cancer.
I had that
And
too.
then, now they wanted to put me under. I refused. I had a very strict set of rules about no coffee, no tea, no shaky hand doctor. And I stayed awake during the procedure, which the staff was very uncomfortable with. They did not like this idea, but my body, my choice. So that was an odd experience. And then the other one I actually was put out for because I had gotten had come back from Vietnam, and they, to this day, we don't know, some
Not the
parasite
war,
virus, whatever
the
it was.
country.
Yep. So I'd come back from Vietnam with something from the jungle, and my lymph nodes went crazy, and I had this big, huge one over my jugular, and they thought that either because they couldn't figure out what it was. So they're like, maybe it's some kind of new lymphoma we can't detect, you know. So basically, it was one of these deals where, like, we're gonna cut a part out and find out if you're gonna die in 6 days or not. So that's the only one I've been put out for.
All right.
But
How
that
about you,
that was a
Chris?
scary one, because I mean, the dude literally is like right here, like
Fine.
go like right.
Yeah. Steady hand.
Yeah, no coffee, no tea. Sorry, doc. Good night's sleep. Healthy breakfast.
Chris is counting. He's up to, is he going to a second hand yet? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're double digits right now.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about 12, maybe
Oof,
give or take a couple. I'm just trying to think, because I've got ankle 1, ankle 2, left shin where they took out some of the IED, right behind the sign where they did the same thing, up to their left knee where they took out more shit like a couple of weeks later when they realized they left bits of fragmentation shit in there. Left hand, oh, I guess actually this one as well, because I managed to, so that'd be another one. Right hand's actually only smashed up a bunch of time. Shoulder punch, shoulder where the bullet went in, shoulder extract where it came out, one on there, and then the chest plate where that one went. They had to stitch up and do a bunch of stupid shit here on this shoulder. Back of the neck, skull, cracked head. That's about it. It's probably, oh, and teeth and all that stupid shit where I've been knocked out a few times. Yeah. Oh, and the jaw where they had to rebuild the jaw. So whatever the hell that makes. A few.
That's a lot, man. I think I'm at 7, maybe. Hernia, cancer. You know, they took out the kidney for the cancer. Appendix, shoulder, neck, wrist.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
lucky. Shit.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
and
that
teeth.
big-
I had my teeth not tucked in. I was mugged when I was 22. Got hit in the face with a baseball bat.
Fuck.
Yeah, knocked me the fuck out, man. Knocked my teeth into my throat. When I came to, I was like, "What is that?" It was my fucking teeth.
Oh, shit.
Yikes, dude.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, just looking at chips. Yeah, Afghan definitely does that to you. Same with Desert Storm and a few other stupid shits.
Yeah, military, man. That's
Well, I mean,
Pay
that
the
was
price.
that was at least half of them. I've only civilian outside. Well, I guess government. Let me rephrase this: government. I've only been shot one shit. I guess we forget about the knives. So those got stitched up. Those ones didn't. So yeah, it's a few. Oh, to your point, the big C has got to get. I've got to get that dealt with next year. I guess that's pancreas. So
you got to you, well, huh?
I got to see as well. These shits and gigs and doodles.
You know,
Well, I have a statistically high average of joining you gentlemen in just a couple of years. So
I mean,
yeah, grandpa, dad, you know, genes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do all the preventatives, but every time I get my colonoscopy done, they find more and more and more and more, right? So it's like the polyp increase is increasing. So we'll see what happens. But see, look at you two fine gentlemen. You're fucking handling it with grace. Evan, you're on the backside of it. Chris, you're getting through it. You'll be on the backside of it too, just like my old man and a lot of other strong warriors that I've met who have encountered that and kicked the fuck out of it, just like they did getting out of bed.
On me. Jack just said that explains the looks. Evan, what are you talking about, man? No, I get it. So it's this tooth right here. That's the only one that is still there from the time, and it's got a root canal, so you can see like that off
Yeah.
right there.
They got to
Whatever.
take 3
And
of
it's
mine
split.
out in 2 weeks. They're taking 3 of my teeth out in 2 weeks' time, 3 or 4, right? Three out. Diabetes has nailed my teeth pretty successfully, no matter what I've done. So 3 of them, they're pulling 3 out. So I feel you on that one, definitely.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, consequences, and it's not necessarily poor choices, but it's things that led to, I mean, for me, I did make a lot of shitty choices, and, you pay for it. The older you get, like lack of sleep, lack of work-life balance. I mean, just a lot of that shit. It eventually catches up to you, and you're going to have to pay the price for it.
Yep, pretty much.
You can only defer it for so long before it's time to collect. And one of the things I've been doing, is because I'm trying to work on hobbies too. I tried welding. That's cool, except for I hurt myself a lot with that fucking splatter fucking shit.
Dude, if you're gonna work with the fire arts, man, the shit, get used to getting burned. That is something that,
dude, it's like, yeah, I'm like, okay, that one hit, and I'm like, man, that hurts. I think, shit. Wait,
well,
what the
you
fuck?
see, Evan, that's
mean?
why they make this stuff called PPE. Okay,
PP
what
what?
you want to do is it stands for personal protective equipment. It's a
Yeah.
fascinating concept. You put on these long sleeves that are fireproof. You work with the hot fire.
Yeah.
Now you will lose weight. You will sweat so hard.
Yeah, there was I was welding one day in flip flops.
Fuck me.
I know. Well, and you look back, like,
toe burns are
that
the
was
worst.
so fucking stupid. Yeah. I've been playing a lot of piano. Do you guys play any musical instruments?
Well, I used to play the piano years ago.
Only the recorder really poorly when I want to piss off the wife and the dog.
Yeah.
See the keyboard?
Oh, brother.
Oh, look at you guys. Musical
I'm
geniuses.
addicted to it. I love it. I was playing guitar and bass, and then got my first piano, and I was like, I love it, because if you're a linear guy and you're a logic guy, fuck, that makes so much more sense than a fucking guitar trying to figure out where those chords are. And why the fuck would you name the notes that way on a fucking guitar to make any damn sense? So it's E, A, D, G, B, A, E. That's the notes on a guitar, right? 6 strings. Those are the 6 notes. Open. The fuck, who decided that shit? At least a piano, it's like linear.
Logic. Yeah.
A, B,
logic.
C, D, E, F, G,
Yeah.
A, B, C, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fun because I've got the 9-year-old messing with it a little bit, and the 16 wants messing with too. So I need to find it a better home because it's on like the other table in the lab space, but we'll get there at some point.
Yeah, I'm addicted. Like yesterday, I think I just skipped meetings. Being an old guy now, and people kind of are used to that.
Sorry, napping.
Yeah. No, I just played piano. I played piano for like 6 hours straight.
Good night.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, it was so much fun. That's the thing too about music is it's therapeutic, and you're always learning. I don't care if you've been playing a musical instrument for 50 years, you're still learning new techniques.
I went to a show last night. All right. Now I have a huge breadth of music. I like just about everything. I really, enjoy just a wide variety, and having some connections and relations with the music industry. I'm not like awestruck because somebody's a singer or a great band, right? That's not what motivates me to like something. So anyways, I sent you, Evan, a link to it. I'll throw it in the chat for everybody, but I found a new artist. His name's Cameron Whiteholm. And best show I've seen in my life. And it was in this little small dive bar. He's just getting started. But the passion this kid has, and he was telling his life story, because the album's all about his journey through like recovery. And he's like, 3 years ago, I was living in a hotel smoking crack, and now I'm here doing this, right? And it's just I got a chance to meet him. I never ever do that ever. Like, I don't care. Like, good show, good job. You have a cool job. Thank you for doing your job well. Have a good night. right? Like I don't need the meet and greet, but I was so compelled to tell this young man that I was so proud of how honest and authentic he was and how that came through in his music that like, dude, your music moves me. Like I cried at the show because it hits. And especially at this stage of my journey, just to see the lack of authenticity in the world, right? And to have that kind of at my fingertips when I need that just, and you can hear it in his voice, you can't, the best artists, sing from pain. But anyways, I digress because that's kind of my type of music. So while I don't play it, I do have a very intimate relationship with music. I do use music as a therapeutic, right? Spinning the vinyls, getting into the whole
Hey,
audio
shout out really quick for the Human API, Rachel.
Fuck yeah.
Tomorrow she has the coffee table talk, for people who are interested. I'd highly recommend it. You'll find it on LinkedIn, and it's a great discussion, usually between her and Will McMullen. Two really good people to listen to.
Really good conversation with
Absolutely.
those.
Yeah. I always forget because I'm fucking squirrely, but one of these days I'll make it there again. All right. Well, dude, I appreciate you guys so much. I'm so grateful that you're my friends. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. The 2 years that we spent together weekly were priceless. I learned so many things. You helped me get through a really dark time in the world with COVID and, the Black Lives Matter stuff. I mean, it was so fucking confusing back then, and having people that I trust and I know that love me to just make sense of it all really, really helped. So I appreciate you guys.
Right back at you.
Echoing the same
I know this is a one-time only, but I think we should do this again at some point. I mean, I know we're all busy, but there's a lot of people who follow us that, want to hear what we have to say. So, if I'm open to that, if you guys are at some point.
I like that idea. Yeah, we'll throw it out to the folks and see what everybody says. Get together on a periodic basis would be cool. So yeah, thank you. And huge appreciation.
Yeah, I appreciate you putting it together, man.
You guys are so motivating to me too, because, like I said, Chris, I'm not a bullshitter. You know that. And when I say, like, you seem healthier to me, you seem grounded, you seem just better than what I remember 2 years ago. And I already thought that the Chris of 2 years ago was pretty fucking awesome. Now you're like, holy shit, man, you're inspiring to me. I don't know if I say that, often, but you make me want to live a healthier life. So I appreciate that, man.
Thank you. I hugely appreciate that. So thank you. The pair of you, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. And for all the newbies out there who think that old people like us can't be inspired,
we can.
I'm inspired all the fucking time by these guys and other people.
Definitely.
All right. Any parting words, guys?
Be kind to each other, please, in this world.
Especially those who don't see the world the same way you do.
Yeah.
It's easy to be kind to people that, we're the same people group, or we see the world the same way, or we believe in the same political candidate. Those are easy people to be kind to. Try being kind to people that see the world differently than you do. When you do that, you open yourself up and you learn so fucking much. So you end up benefiting from that.
So I'll add to that. That starts with being kind to yourself. So when you wake up tomorrow, look in the mirror, remind yourself that sexy beast, give yourself a little face slap. You're good enough. You're smart enough. Doggone it, people like you. Get up, get going, and get some. And you're going to fuck it up, and that's okay. Fuck it up, pick it up. Just keep pushing. And if it gets too dark, go watch an episode of The Shit Show. There's something in there that'll help put a smile on your face.
Exactly.
Love you guys.
I love you too, man. I'm sending the last chat. Thank you for spending your night with us. Bam. There you go. I'm going to end the stream now. All right. The stream is ended.